What's poppin', y'all? Ye recently did a new interview with Big Boy. Hey, can't play you guys the clip. They're going to hit us with the copyright. But I'm going to sum it up a little bit. And I might link the tweet in the description so you guys can see it. I think I posted it on my Twitter, but don't take my word for that. I don't really recall. I don't think I posted on Twitter much this week. So first I'm going to talk about kind of the things I agree with Ye on, where I think he's spitting, and then kind of push back a little bit and give some opposition to what he's putting out, because as you guys have noticed, Vultures is the complete opposite of everything we saw with Donda, right? How explicit it is, him having been complaining about his wife dressing a certain way, and then him pretty much dressing his new wife arguably in a worse fashion than he did with Kim, and then getting upset at fans for saying something about it and posting her in that way, when, hey man, they're just chalking it back to what you were saying. So circling back, one of the points that Ye made was about, like, Christians, they'll just like say, I'll pray for you or something like this, when there's something that you can actually physically do. And this is something that proliferates through pretty much any I would say most Abrahamic religious institutions, where number one, it's kind of like, oh, prayer is always the answer, when that doesn't mean prayer is wrong, but people take that as, hey, we don't have to do anything, like, I'll pray for wealth. Well, you can pray for wealth and keep going about your life the same way that you always have, and nothing's ever going to change. It's not just going to come out of the sky. And like he said, oh, we can't pray our way out of abortion clinics, we can't pray our way out of this. I think he's really on the money, because also the thing with a lot of religious institutions is there is kind of this, I wouldn't say they're urging you to be poor, but it's almost as if it's disincentivizing you to be rich. Like, they talk about, you know, how rich people have these problems, and how, like, stories of how poor people that had nothing go to heaven, and how they're looked upon by God. And all that is well and good, because most people are poor. But you rarely ever see them highlight, like, hey, you should aspire to have a lot of things, to amass wealth and power, to be able to distribute that back and spread a positive message. So I see where Ye is coming from on this point, and it is frustrating when people are like, oh, I'll pray for you, when he's like, yo, you could just send a message out for me right now. What do you mean pray for me? It's kind of like a dismissive tone. You know, you ever ask your parents for something and they'll be like, oh, God willing, or like, yeah, well, like, we'll see if it's like in the cards or something like that. And you just knew that was them pretty much telling you no. I think this is how Ye is interpreting that. However, Ye dropping bars like, I'm the new Jesus, I turned water to Cristal, which, does he still got problems with Cristal? I mean, that was Jay-Z, but I don't know if Ye adopted those problems with Cristal. So it's kind of nice to see him touch up on that. Those are some, like, real blasphemous lines, especially also, like, the whole thing where it's like, it goes Jesus, Hitler, Ye. I'm not gonna lie, dropping those three names in succession is probably something I never thought I'd hear. But Ye was going on to say, hey, you know, I got my problems with Jesus. You know, there was a lot of time I was praying that he didn't show up. And Ye has definitely gone through an unimaginable level of pressure, hate, and attack, not only on his businesses, but on his family the past couple of years. I would say probably 2 years, with, you know, what he came out saying. The guy's getting debanked. Debanked from JP Morgan Chase. This person did not commit a single crime. He did not make any call to violence against anybody. Nothing like that. And they debanked him from the biggest bank, arguably, like in the US or in the world, or one of the biggest banks in the world. He got dropped from his Adidas deal, which is a massive deal, which I think they pretty much found a loophole to get rid of him. So he loses that. Everyone's distancing themselves from him. His own family is dropping quotes on Instagram saying, hey, we don't co-sign or approve what he's talking about, which is like, nobody said you did, but they had to go out of their way to put that out there. And that's just what we were able to see in front of our eyes. Who knows what kind of pressure they were applying on him in the back end. And he took some time, and I think he went to Japan, and then he came back, and then he came with Vultures. But I think this circles back to, everything is about Ye. He is in the center of his universe. And when he was talking about, like, oh, Jesus is king, he was always talking about it in a sense of, hey, Jesus is speaking through me. I'm the vessel. And that's just the ego of Ye, really. So I think he's looking at it like, yo, Jesus ain't show up for me when I wanted him to show up, or how I wanted him to show up. So I got a problem with that, which it's so funny to just think about, but it's so on brand for Ye. This is the most Ye thing ever. And I think it will continue to be that way. I have made a video before kind of talking about Ye's relationship with his religion in particular, and said that we kind of see him be really human because he'll go through waves. Like, for example, we had Jesus is King. And then what did we have after that? We had another album before Donda. In between Jesus is King and Donda, there was like another phase. So he kind of goes through these ebbs and flows, like peaks and troughs of becoming like really religious or just like more in tune with his faith, and then going to the complete opposite side. And with Vultures, we're seeing him go to this complete opposite side. But the energy on Vultures is the type of energy for someone that was going through everything that he went through in the past year and a half, 2 years. So it's so authentic and reflective of the point that he is in life right now, which is why I appreciate Vultures. And, you know, I'm not coming at him, like, I don't got the religious gripe with him, so I'm not coming at him for that, really. It's just kind of to point out the human in him, but also the fact that he's saying a lot of these things. It's the level of, I wouldn't say arrogance because, oh, this is a different take of mine, but you could just say the level of narcissism. You could say, yeah, he's pretty narcissistic. Like, he pretty much thinks he is the main act of everyone's show. And if things aren't moving like that, then he's pretty upset. Now that I'm circling back, I don't think there was a pullback on Jesus is King. I think Donda was right after Jesus is King. Or am I thinking about Yandi? Is that Yandi I'm thinking about? And Yandi wasn't really on like Jesus is King type of timing. And I think he scrapped Yandi because he was on doing Jesus is King / Donda things. Well, we can just circle back to moments like College Dropout, right? With how he like kind of talked about his faith at that time, Jesus Walks, and then we've seen this in his behavior too. Like the song that he did with Lil Pump and how he was before and after that. So regardless, my point still stands. It's just the timeline's a little bit off. But we saw him on a run, right? We saw him with Jesus is King. People gave that a good amount of flack. I thought the project was pretty good. Like, you go back to it, it holds up. The music is good. Donda was better, of course. Donda is such a remarkable album. I love that album. And then now you've got Vultures, which people seem to enjoy. He gets a hit. Like I said, this #1 kind of cemented Ye to be like, yo, I am him again. Like, he's not persecuted anymore, or he doesn't feel like that. Like, he beat the system, and now he's bucking back. And it's like, yeah, I am the greatest, and I proved it. I proved I am the greatest under the biggest odds ever, which, just think about what kind of an effect that has on someone whose ego is already off the charts. Yeah, it's gonna blow it up a lot. I am interested in seeing how he continues to have this conversation about his faith. I think it's one of the unique and interesting parts about Ye that's the least talked about by his fans. A lot of them, well, I mean, there is kind of like this group of people that still talk about it, but for the most part, the fans just really care about the music, and they don't really care about that aspect of him too much. Maybe the shoes, actually, or the merch. Not too much the clothes. But this is something that I think it just shows his character, and I really like to learn more about that. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for watching. Peace.